You ever wondered how these other countries and these, some people might call them witch doctors and holistic doctors and other countries in these rural countries, or even some hospitals, but not many, have seem to have the remedy for cancers and diabetes, and sometimes they're some of the most healthiest people in other countries. And a lot of these countries are poor, predominantly poor countries. I remember I used to just hear that. I remember years ago when the AIDS thing was out there, HIV and the AIDS pandemic. Yeah, another pandemic. I ain't gonna get into that, but that was another pandemic that was pushed on us. A lot of misinformation, a lot of lies. But anyway, when that thing was going on back then in the 80s and stuff like that, early mid 80s, the Rock Hudson thing and stuff like that when AIDS came out. But besides all of that, and the story with Magic Johnson contributed the HIV that causes AIDS, or the so-called HIV that's supposed to have caused AIDS at that time. That was a hot topic. Magic Johnson was still somewhat in his prime in the NBA with the LA Lakers. And there was a lot of talk about that and everything. Not his lifestyle. Yeah, he was kind of out there like a lot of us was. But my point is, that was part of for what they were saying. But anyway, I remember, to make a long story short, whether this true or not, I don't know if it's true today. I don't know. So this is what this was the saying back then of what happened with Magic Johnson, how he wind up getting healed from HIV that causes AIDS. He went to another country. I forgot what country that was. And like I said, I don't know how true this is, but there was a big talk. And uh, supposed to have got healed in another country from HIV that causes AIDS. But remember that story? A lot of you that remember a story like that. Well, anyway, that wasn't something I heard about. I said, wow, how could he go to another country and get supposedly or allegedly supposed to have been healed from this HIV cause AIDS thing and can't get here in America? And he was a millionaire then, not as rich as he is now, but he was a millionaire then, young millionaire. The first NBA player to make $1 million a year, which is like a dollar to some players now. But he was the first one that signed that $1 million, $25 million contract with the Lakers. One of the biggest contracts in NBA was signed by Magic Johnson. Yes, it was. He was making $1 million a year, a $25 million contract with the LA Lakers. Remember that? I do. But that's when the Lakers was the team then. I didn't like the Lakers, but I respected Magic. But the thing is, he allegedly supposed to have went to another country and got healed. I used to hear stories like that besides that Magic Johnson story of people going to other countries because of the natural remedies. Remember natural remedies? I'm going to talk about that too. And the healing thing, the things that I use to heal people. Some people called it black magic. Some governments called it witch doctors or whatever. And they probably was. But what I am talking about has nothing to do with demonic stuff. It has nothing to do with spirits and stuff like that and all that other weird stuff. Even though they might think it does, but it had to do with the plants and stuff that they was using. And even some of the fruits that they was using, why some of their own countrymen, and I guess some of the people that went in those countries got healed. Now, that's just a speculation for me. I don't know. I don't have the research on that. But I'd like to find out more about that. And because it goes back to what I was saying in the last podcast. A lot of foreign countries that's not been contaminated by westernized living like the United States and UK and a lot of some other Western countries are more healthier than a lot of people in the United States and the UK. Even though we're the richest and one of the most powerful nations. We are still the most unhealthiest nations. And I'm talking about all ethnicities as well. This is not a white, black, or Puerto Rican or Mexican thing or Asian thing. Well, a lot of Asians ain't fat anyway. They know better. But the thing is, this is just a westernized thing. And it's not a coincidence. And I'm not going to get into all that. It's not a coincidence. You know, even Thailand, a lot of poor countries, which got a lot of sin and a lot of witchcraft and wicked stuff going on, but they are somewhat more healthier and they live a lot longer than people in America and in the UK. All right. But my point is, I started thinking about those things and everything over a few years ago. This isn't nothing new. But I was wondering, I used to hear stories about that. Then I used to hear people talking about natural remedies. And because of the westernized type of thinking and the traditional diets of westernized medicine and doctors, when you hear people talk about natural healings, the first thing came to my mind, oh man, they witch doctors. They into that witchcraft and all that leaf stuff. And left a nasty taste in my mouth. And I used to look at people funny when I used to talk that way about healthiness of certain remedies and stuff like that. Now, some of it was weird and warped, no doubt about it, but I used to hear those things and whatever like that. That's way before I used to hear about meat being one of the most powerful healers, which I know now, just consuming meat, no doubt. One of the most nutritional foods that you can eat today is meat. And it's a nutrition of vegetables and plants too, no doubt, and fruits. But the biggest nutrition that I think every human should have in them is some type of meat. You know, that's why I'd rather go a full all meat than a full vegetarian, because I believe it would be more healthy and nutritional rather just eating meat than just eating vegetables. But I'm not knocking vegetarians or vegan. But my point is, this is not a carnivore versus a vegan podcast. I'm not going to get into that, you know, because people are getting healed on both different ways. But I just think it's more of a more nutritional value with consuming meat over vegetables. That's my opinion. And I used to wonder why those things should happen in other countries and stuff like that. I know now why I know now. That's why I believe when people move to the United States and I'm talking about the eating process, what they consume, it's easy to get addicted and fall in love with American westernized food. And it's made, and the stuff they put in it on purpose, listen to me closely, on purpose, is for you to be addicted to it. It's just like a drug. It's nothing but a drug, because the stuff they put in are considered drugs. It's poison that they put in to make you addicted to it. So when people come from other countries, wouldn't even think about eating the stuff that they ate in our country, even though thank God it wasn't even available then. That might be a negative to them, but that's a positive that stuff was not available in their country. I believe when they come in, a lot of them picked up weight. I'm sure there's studies on it. They picked up weight or got sicker. Or got sick, let me just put it that way. Even in a poor country, they wasn't sick. The lack of food they ate, they was not sick. But when they came to America, they got sick and they started picking up weight. See, my thing is, it is a Western problem. It is a USA problem. It is a UK problem in other countries that adapt or start adopting westernized type of dieting and type of foods, ultra processed frankenfood junk. You're going to pick up weight. Or if you don't pick up weight because you got a fast metabolism, there's going to be probably other issues that happens in you. Some faster than others because it's no good. It's not food. Potato chips, Cheetos, cakes, all that sweet garbage is not food. We grew up thinking it was food. It never was food. Okay? But my point is, I used to think about that. Now that tells you how much I think about differently about food and what is food now, what I should be putting in this temple of God. It's bad enough, you out there, you messing up your temple with illicit sex, pornography, drugs and stuff like that. That's bad enough. And I'm guilty of some of that. And I still struggle with certain things. That's bad enough how we mess up our temple of God that way, men and women. and don't even, and we look at that as evil and bad, and it is, and God does not like that, and it's destroying our bodies as well as our mind as well. Those things, see, as sin, gluttony is sin according to the Bible. That's sin. Okay, but my point is, what all those sins, we focus on one type of sin more than the other. Okay, and the biggest sin I believe a lot of us here in America ignore is the food sin. The food that we consume, we ignore that. We know about the other stuff that I have mentioned, drugs, from all the other drugs, drinking, alcohol, illicit sex, pornography, all that other type of stuff out there. We know about that, how bad that is, and how that can affect you physically and mentally. But the food part, we don't. Some people can never look at pornography, never have a illicit sex problem, don't do drugs, don't even drink, but they have a food problem. They have a food addiction. They have a sugar addiction. They have an ultra carbohydrate addiction. They eat potato chips, they eat Cheetos, Twinkies, and don't even gain weight. See, but the gain in weight, what one doctor, Dr. Lustwick, said, he deals with a lot of sugar consumption on YouTube. He says something, and some scientific, clinicians probably disagree, but he says something I never heard before. See, he said, you become sick first before you pick up weight if you're obese. Something like that. You become sick first. We have been told the sign of us being sick was what the weight gain. No, but the weight gain comes because of your sickness. And I never heard it put like that before. I said, wow, interesting. See, you don't just gain weight. See, first of all, you got to think, what makes you gain weight anyway? I'm talking about the bad weight, obesity. What makes inflammation? Not inflammation, but what makes you gain weight? For order for us to gain weight and put on a lot of bad fat, we have to be sick first. It started from something. Something was started, or, inflammation, insulin levels, all that was raised. See, the sickness come first, and then you pick up the weight if you have a weight problem. See, you understand what I'm saying when it comes to obesity people or overweight people like myself and others. And I never heard that before. And I'm saying, wow, man, I never thought about that. Even when it comes to children. See, people don't look at my little fat, chubby, cute little child. That's not good. And they chubby, you can see it all in their chin. And some children, you can see it all in their face and everything. But that's something to think about it. That's a sign of a sickness that they have while they're overweight. It might be nothing cancerous or nothing like that, but it's still a sickness. He said you get sick first, whatever it is, then you pick up the weight. You're picking up weight because there's something wrong. There's the sickness started first. It's not the other way around. See? Okay, something is making us get fat. That's not happening in a lot of other countries because they don't eat the same food that we eat in the westernized country. It's almost like common sense. A lot of the foods here in America are banned in a lot of other countries, even Canada. Especially the colored and dyed foods. So that's why I'm more focused now on holistic, natural. I ain't going to even get into the holistic. Just say natural. And the natural could be wore out too, because a lot of things that's natural is not natural. But the God-given food that we're supposed to be eating, because ultra-processed food didn't even exist back then in the biblical days and in other countries or even whatever. 70, 80 years ago, didn't even exist, a lot of them. People started getting more fatter and unhealthy and obesity and diabetes and more cancerous. Now, I'm not saying they didn't have it then when the ultra-processed food start becoming more popular. That's not a coincidence. That's not a fact. That's not an opinion. That's just a fact in the Western world. Let's get more into that. I'm going to be talking about the off and on and Body of Christ Real Talk, Health Talk. God bless you all. Peace out. Super Saturday.